Hello, friends. This is John Klein III of episode 66 of Shadow and Flame with Magic, the podcast. And today we are going to review Uncanny X-Men 241. So let's get to it. And thanks to my dear friends at MileHighComics.com, I have myself, a fine edition of this. Well, I flipped through it and I did not see what made it fine, but sure. I imagine it's a fine with three eyes, perhaps. I'll let you pronounce it the way you hear that. And so this would have cost you $1 or 125 cans or 50 pence. Inferno and Sinister. Oh, actually, now that I'm looking at it, I guess around the staples is a little crunched. Where the word Inferno is also a little faded, like there was some tape on it. I don't know. Anyway, so Mr. Sinister has the corner box, the upper left corner box, and bottom left corner is the Spider-Man mask logo. Madeline Pryor is triumphant with Nasir below her holding baby Nathan. And it says, "At last, the startling secret of Madeline Pryor, a son for the Goblin Queen." And this issue is amazing. So let's start. This came out in February 1989. Good year. Inferno, part the second. Picking up right where we left off, in the secret high-tech catacombs of a Nebraska orphanage. That's right, y'all. This is it. And Madeline's like, "You have a name, chum?" "Most refer to me as Mr. Sinister. But you, Madeline Pryor, my pride, my foremost joy, may call me Father." And Madeline's in her awesome Goblin Queen outfit. And she's surrounded by her own demon squad. Demons wouldn't be in a squad. What would demons be in? A horde? That feels right. And then Nasir's right behind her. And I should start off saying that Ileana's going to get mentioned 3 times in this, or in 3 different panels. And so that's what it takes to get me to buy a comic and keep it in my collection. And so I will share those images on Instagram and Twitter at SNFWM. So look forward to that once I record this or finish recording the episode. And then I'll use those images promoting the episode tomorrow as well. But I started getting a little addicted to, not addicted, that's not the right word. But I find great joy in scanning comics and then editing down comics to the panel, the desired panel, and hopefully Twitter survives through next year. As I have a little Twitter project I want to do, and as far as I can tell, Blue Sky does not let you do scheduled posts. So we'll have to see what happens there. But now that I'm talking to you, dear listener, I guess I could do it on the blog. That could be a fun idea. Alright, Dad will think about that for a moment. "What do you mean by that, you devil?" "The devil perhaps I am, although your companion certainly better looks the part, but the infutable fact remains, I am the one who brought you into being." "Liar! You're the mastermind behind the Marauders, the man who sent them to murder me." And then, like, zams Mr. Sinister. And then Nasir thinks to himself, "Shards, the more the Goblin Queen uses her newborn power, the greater it grows. Oh, Nasir, in crafting your cat's paw, you've evidently grabbed the tigress by the tail. I want his heart, my pets. The rest of him is yours." And so then the horde of goblins come at him. He backhands them with a thwam. "Regrettably, Madeline, Sinister has no heart. nor is he about to be bested in his own sanctorum santorium. I've taken your measure, child, and found you wanting. And so they're just like blasting each other with Raskazam. And somehow I guess Sinister has the upper hand as she is now got chains wrapped around her whole body and her limbs, making Ghost Rider very jealous, I'm sure. Struggle, of course, is quite useless. My defensive systems imply simply turn your own energies back on you, using them to bind you all the more tightly. Nasir, demon, why won't you answer? Help me! And this panel, like, I don't know where Madeline's nipples are, but they clearly should be right on the where the underboob is being shown. Oh yeah, have we gotten to the title, the credit page yet? Or am I jumping one page? Okay. We'll get to the artist of it all. I'm afraid, my dear, your erstwhile ally has yielded to the better part of valor and teleported himself to safety, leaving you abandoned quite alone. And then he finally gets to her and puts his hand on her face, and it's aggressive, and I was gonna say in the way you don't like, but well, no, I guess there's some positive aggression. Now I got the WWE thing in my head. What ruthless aggression? Which I guess also you don't want? I don't know. To each their own. All together at my mercy. Stanley presents Fan the Flames. By Chris Claremont, writer, penciler Mark Silvestri, inker Dan Green, R.I.P. legend, letterer Tom Orchrzowski, colorist Glennis Oliver, editor Bob Harris, and Tom DeFalco, Taskmaster. No, Tom DeFalco, no. Say it ain't so. And so do we get an awesome 2-page spread of the X-Men on the left side and the Marauders on the right side. And we get little captions by every single person, which is very handy. So we have Longshot, Storm, Rogue, Dazzler, Psylocke, the Betsy one, in her Lady Mandarin armor suit, Havoc, Wolverine, and Colossus is knocked out in the middle of the fight because, you know, he's Colossus and the worst. And then the Marauders are Polaris, under the mind control of Malice, Scalp Hunter, which is not great. I'm trying to think what his name is currently. Grey Crow. There's Riptide, Harpoon, and Harpoon's the one who hurt Kitty, and then Riptide's the guy Colossus killed in the Mutant Massacre, the first one. There's Prism, who I don't recognize at all, and Vertigo. And Silvestri clearly likes drawing Vertigo. She gets many a butt shot here. And everyone else is just in awesome action poses. Meanwhile, half a continent toward a dawn which may never come, though no one knows that yet. The Uncanny X-Men continue their helter-skelter battle with Sinister's shock troopers, their arch foes, the Marauders, amidst the concrete canyons of a Manhattan that is ever more rapidly transforming to a city out of nightmare. And so it's sort of like how we just started the New Mutant coverage with Ileana, just like starting with the demon child, and now she's in her all-white shiny armor. And now we're here on the other side of Inferno with Madeline Pryor, and the two storylines don't really cross, except for we follow, well, I guess spoilers for later, but Colossus is going to go from this issue to New Mutants, so we're following him for a bit once he gets up. And then we're seeing the battle phases of the demons taking over all these inanimate objects, one of them being a postal box that has stuck a guy clearly was going to mail his letter in the middle of a giant inferno, because I guess the postal service does not rest. And in doing so, the the box is chewing on his arm, and he's not happy about it. And then we see Storm trying to fight. I'm gonna go with Gray Crow, and Vertigo, who is the second booty shot of hers. And then we see a fire hydrant beating up a dog. And being like, don't ever do that again. Wop, wop, wop. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Wop, bop, wop. Which I feel like that... What did my brain just try to do? Wop, bop, bop, bang, bang, boom. Something like that. And then Colossus is finally up on his feet. Going somewhere, Murata. Please... Man, I do not know how to do a Russian accent. Please allow Colossus... Rasputin, please allow Colossus to get in your way. And, oh, yeah, he's going after Riptide. You, Bonzama, Riptide. But when last we met, I killed you. Way back in X-Men 211, Bob. Which, 30 issues ago. So, yeah, that would have been like 2 years ago. Hey, Rusky, we Marauders are just chock full of surprises. How about we find out if you're as resistant when I return the compliment? And then Riptide's doing his thing of turning to a human tornado. And then we see the police are showing up, finally trying to take control. But instead of cars, or maybe police tanks... Which I imagine in the Marvel Universe, police probably do need to escalate to tanks. But these look like they're walking broods with where their forehead is a police hood. And there's some officers telling everyone they're all under arrest. And Polaris, under control being Malice, is just wanting to wreck them, and Havoc's trying to get her to calm down. Which... Alex, you don't have that authority over her. But to the young Russian's surprise, they bounce off his armored skin as he's being... because Riptide's throwing a bunch of ninja stars at him, or what they call them, super velocity stars. I guess that's what you call them when you're not a ninja. The cops aren't so lucky, as their cars are destroyed. Polaris is calling herself the Mistress of Magnetism. So she's all about Brandon and owning her place in the mythos. And we see Vertical, but sitting down now, so she's no longer being sexualized. There's a pet shop called Rats R Us, which does not sound like a pet shop you'll want to go to, but maybe perhaps if you have a snake. It's Vertical. So she's making the X-Men, specifically Wolverine, Rogue, and Havoc, have upset stomachs. As they're experiencing, you guessed it, vertigo. However, even while Longshot succumbs, his Eldritch luck turns this blind random throw, and we see him throwing a dagger, into precisely the right move. And the reason they call it Rats R Us is so that we will recognize it in the previous panel as the dagger breaks the chains of the sign and it falls on Vertical's head. And that is how you lay out a page, everybody. And Grayskull Crow is... What's my brain doing? Grayskull from He-Man? Masters of the Universe? And are you under the impression that Masters of the Universe is He-Man's team or Skeletor's team? Because I always read it more as He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, as in you're going to see He-Man and his foes, the Masters of the Universe. But maybe it's because I have a negative connotation to the word master. But, maybe something to ponder. And so, Grayskull Crow... I gotta get a better hand over it. Rogue, lifting up a very blue car that I can only imagine is a homage to Superman over at the Distinguished Competitor. And she just hurls it at him, and knocking him out with a thumb. Storm's talking to Psylocke, trying to take everyone down telepathically. But as Elizabeth Braddock activates those formidable psychic abilities. She, I guess, opening up her mind to take them all down, left her mind open to hear all the crying children in the world, which Polaris laughs at her. And then they all get teleported deeper into the Inferno, it looks like, or with a blinding light. Wait, it just looks like we're in limbo now. Back in Nebraska, you always were a rebel, Madeline, never believing in what you were told, determined to learn everything for yourself, regardless of the cost. Tell me, has it been worth the pain, the grief? And I gotta admit, though, Madeline looks amazing in these panels. Like, you can just tell Silvestri took his time with these. I've nothing to do with you, monster. I'm a normal person with normal parents and a normal past. Tell me of them then. The smallest little thing, a single memory, surely that's no problem. But you can't, because they don't exist. That's not true. They do, and I can. I'm waiting. I was 10. It was summer. I was playing in the front yard with my best friend, Annie Richardson. And that... Just if you know Jean's origins at all, it's just immediately heartbroken, because up until now, you don't know Madeline's story. Unless they're having an X Factor, but I don't own any issues of X Factor. So there is a giant third of the story I am not, like, privy to. But also, I feel like I'm okay about it. But you immediately go, oh, Sinister's not lying, and how horrible the next page is going to be. Mom told me to be careful because we lived on a blind curve. But when the wind caught the frisbee, Annie didn't think, she just ran right after it. Clearly, they needed a kids at play sign right around the curve. Or some concerned parent to lobby the HA Home Association, but what's the middle initial? HRA? HMA? Homeowners Association? Oh, HOA. That's how it works, everyone. She never saw the car nor its driver. How do you know that? You cradled her dying friend in your arms and suddenly found yourself actually inside her mind, shaking her, sharing her thoughts as they went out one by one. You remained and enwrapped her with her, sharing that most intimate of bonds until at last she died. How do you know? The memory isn't yours. Annie Richardson was Jean Grey's friend, and that's the incident which catalyzed her telepathic power into being. No! And we get another panel where, see, the panel where she's saying she's nothing to her, like the cloth, the upper boob, like, it's clearly dangling a little bit more, but this one, where she's, like, sadly saying no, I don't know, like, clearly, and once again, I think I tweeted this, like, maybe a year ago, but any woman who does a Madeline Pryor Goblin Queen cosplay, and I will even extend it to a Goblin Prince Havoc cosplayer, I don't mean women, like anyone who wants to wear a Goblin Queen outfit or a Goblin Prince outfit, like, power to you, because I could not pull off either of those outfits. And if you're brave enough to go from your hotel into a taxi or a bus, just being brave enough to pack that into your suitcase, like, I tip the old Shadow and Flame baseball cap to you, as that is this bravery I do not have. And then people are going to want to take pictures of you. And where do they put their arms? Around your waist? Around your shoulders? Like, I know, I imagine you just politely whisper, like, hey, don't touch me. And then they go, oh, sure, I won't. Oh, man, we're solving all the problems. Fascinating how the replicant manages to garner memory flashes from the template, as though some events are so primal they've somehow endured on the generic matrix itself. And then we keep seeing Nasir is watching the events, and I'm not very sure I was literally about to say I'm not sure where Nasir's storyline goes in the chronological order, but literally, Comic Book Hero did the world service by doing the limbo or the Inferno chronological order. So clearly, he's bouncing between Exterminators, New Mutants, Uncanny X-Men, back to New Mutants. Like, he is everywhere. So I guess when we don't see him, we're led to believe that he's in another comic. Poor creature, so pridefully powerful, yet now brought as low as can be, ripe at last for my picking, with the introduction of one final element. Manhattan. And Wolverine has come across the mailbox, has now successfully eaten the guy down to his ankles with a munch. And Wolverine tells him to spit him out. The post box does not want to do it, so he slices it in half. And we see the gentleman not only was consumed fully, but is now a stamp. So who knows how he gets back on, like, back to himself. Havoc assists because Havoc and Wolverine, best of friends, having a real meltdown together. And then they come across some humans who are overly gleeful to see them as the X-Men as they taunt them. And then we see Storm and Colossus. Storm, I do not understand. Mailboxes attacking people. Police demons. Marauders we have slain. Risen from the dead. This is madness. Of course, little brother. How else would you describe life in New York City? Oh, Storm. You will always be famous. Nebraska. Jean never told her parents she could read minds. Instead, unable to shut out the growing cacophony of thoughts assaulting her, she withdrew into herself, cutting herself off as much as possible from all human contact. Immediately upon learning of her, I planned to eliminate her parents and have her raised here at my orphanage where I kept the others. But fate sent them to Charles Xavier, then a budding authority on mutant genetics. Oh man, what a story potential for What If, where Sinister grabs Jean and Scott and her are an orphanage couple just learning to survive with each other. Would change at least the starting lineup. Who would the X-Men be then? It'd be Beast, Angel, Iceman, Sage, and I guess Mimic? No. In a world where Sinister grabs Scott, I imagine the easy direction would be to grab Havoc. And then I guess if you're grabbing Havoc, then you're grabbing Polaris instead of Sage. Because Sage once again gets overlooked. Anyways. And unknown to the Greys, both mutant and telepath himself, Xavier's pioneering work with Jean was instrumental in leading him to form the X-Men. But while he treated her, I was busy, using a blood and tissue sample of the girl that I had procured, which, all that backstory, and then he's just going to procure her blood and tissue sample just off panel, to create a Jean Grey of my own. You should feel proud, Madeline. And Madeline's just crying, but still looking gorgeous. She was his premier success. You were mine. Some mutant abilities manifest themselves at birth, most at puberty. Yours inexplicably did neither. I confess I was disappointed bitterly. All that time was an effort wasted. But then my brain was, I was remembering this, because I'm a real either guy instead of either. And I remember trying to, like in the messages board days, like the Joe Quesada board, and trying to force people to pronounce it either, like to read it as either by capitalizing the I in either or either. and then so I was trying to make neither. Oh no, I did it. It's just one of those things you have to do outside your head, I guess. Or aloud if you're going to use other words. But then one night, Scott! Classic Jean template. Then you see Madeline speaking in a Phoenix Force bubble. Fire! Life incarnate! Now, forever! Phoenix! And then just passes out. And I like how Sylvester has chosen the decency of having Madeline be in a comfy bed with a white cloth over her, and then the Phoenix Force explodes, and so now she's nude, and a streak of flame covers her breasts, and then Sinister's collar covers her privates, and then we get the next panel where when Madeline passes out, Sinister's holding her delicately, but she's clearly nude now. But it's very, very tastefully done. It's not done for titillation's sake. Manhattan. So now all these robots are coming to fight the X-Men, and I don't know. They remind me of the right robots because they got those big old red, happy, white smiley faces on them. But I do not. Okay, so Havoc's fighting one, Storm's fighting one. She tells Colossus to take on another. Dazzler is helping out Colossus. Then Colossus grabs one of the robots. Rasputin, we are well aware of your abilities, Dazzler. There is no need to boast, and this should prevent your doing any more harm. I have seen your kind before in Limbo. And then the robot says, great memory, looking pretty righteous, pal. Being dead suits you. Hey, do you no hard feelings, right? I'm a trooper. I just follow Sim's Oh yeah, so these are are they demons that have the techno-organic virus and so they have cool suits of armor? Do these guys predate the right and then the idea of robots with smiley faces are used later? That'd be a fun in-continuity, in-universe situation. Led, he's the big kahuna. What are you doing here, demon? And what is this talk of Sim? Oh, okay, this is going to be the first panel we upload. My sister Ileana rules Limbo. Not anymore. Hey, don't let Hyper... It wasn't my idea. It's just, way of the world. Sim got lucky. Blondie got careless. New orders take over today. Limbo tomorrow, the world. Magic has been overthrown? By Sim and his buddy Nasir. Though, between you and me, those two are pals like Ollie North and the Yaothal. Heh. Which I had to look up because apparently the... I gotta find that word again. Oh yeah, the Ayatollah is, which now I'm pronouncing it for a second time, does register as the former supreme leader of Iran. And then Oliver North, well now he's a retired United States Marine Corps lieutenant colonel. And so clearly it's a reference to, the 90s war on Iran. And I guess he was a high military officer in it. I don't know. I was 89. I am 7 at the moment and getting into Spider-Man comics. So this whole thing I just wasn't present for. It's here. They're whipping up some Mondo Buffo spell. Gonna make Earth just like Limbo. Where will they do this? They're tourists. Where else? The Empire State Building. Bazemo! If they have harmed Ileana Demon, no power in creation... Oh yeah, so this is the second panel. No power of creation will save them. Maybe you should worry about yourself. As a second demon comes up, and Colossus grabs that demon and throws it against the wall with a pow. And then Storm and Wolverine are super excited that Colossus is taking up destroying things. And Storm has an evil grin. Wolverine has grown fangs, so just like all the other humans, they are becoming slowly demonic themselves. And we're shown that Colossus, with his pure heart, and perhaps additionally to his metal skin, he's immune to these horrid thoughts. And it seems my armored body protects me from the sorcery as it did from Sim's spells. He's thinking to himself as he's walking towards where to the Empire State Building. And we get the third panel and final panel. I do not wish to abandon my comrades, but I can only save them by saving Ileana. Enchanted as they are, I dare not count on them to help me, so I must go alone and pray I'm not already too late. I guess we probably should speed this up now that we are outside the Ileana segments. So Sinister keeps taunting Madeline, telling her about the whole plan is he needed to get that sweet, sweet Gray Summers DNA together to see if they would make a super baby. I knew once you met, and if necessary I was prepared to ensure nature would take its inevitable course. Which it did. You used me! Child, that's why you were made. But with Miss Gray's resurrection came a problem. Being a telepath and more importantly, your template, she has sensed the truth the moment you met. To protect my organization, you had to be eliminated. But that stroke, I gained your baby for myself, while covering my tracks so thoroughly Scott Summers would never find me. But your marauders botched the job. And she gets like a devilish grin of her own. I mean, honestly, she looks amazing. And she's like all tied up with chains, but she's not like scared at all. Like she clearly has a plan forming. Manhattan. And Longshot's fighting some gargoyles. And Nasir. And Nasir's taking over Longshot's brain because he's a simple man and doesn't have as many mental restrictions. And so we catch up with Storm, Psylocke, and Rogue, who are very much into and Wolverine destruction and a good time. Dazzler doesn't seem too put out as she checks herself in a mirror. And Havoc is on site too. Nasir's up there. Havoc tries to blast him, but I guess he's too far away or he just teleports away. Oh yeah, Nasir references Madeline Pryor, so now Havoc wants to chase Nasir. And we get back to Nebraska. Quite correct. The Marauders shouldn't have failed. They were certain they hadn't, yet they did. But then you died along with the X-Men in full view of the entire world, only to appear here alive, apparently invisible to my sensors, able to bypass my defenses, enter my sanctum with impunity. Not only consorting with what can only be described as demons, but possessed by considerable power yourself. Perhaps when I died I made a deal with the devil to come collect you down to join him. We shall see. I look forward to taking you apart, Madeline, and discovering how you've changed. That's right, I forgot. The brood mare's fulfilled her purpose. You have your prize, my baby. You don't need me anymore. I don't know. It's just something about her having to self-identify as a brood mare. Like, she was such an amazing character who happened to look like Jean, and then they're like, no, we need to tighten this all up. Scott can't abandon a nice wife and a child to go with his high school girlfriend. Like, she needs to be crazy. So here we go. And then all of a sudden, demons jump on Sinister's back. Only assets have value. Wah! And then Madeline, I don't belong to you, Sinister. And she's just like burning up with power. I won't be ruled by you. And then I won't be condemned by you. And like just like a big shiny ray of light erupts around her. Surprise. It appears your devices have limits, and I don't. Impossible! As he's on his back. And she's just standing proud above him. If you say so, what price glory now, Sinister? And then we get a pretty awesome upper panel of, and I guess they're lit by flames. So, and it's like where two eyes would be, but they're both just orange circles. I've been challenged before. That's an X-Men line. Trust me, you're not in their league. If you think you've truly tested my resources, no more I'm willing to bet than you have mine. Prelims are over, Sinister. It's time for the main event. And then Nasir shows up all in red because he has the techno-organic virus now. My lady, forgive your servant's interruption, but I felt you should see proof of how Nasir keeps his word. Never doubted you for an instant. Give me my son. No! Sinister shouts. I won't be condemned, Sinister. Instead, I condemn. Here is the culmination of all your machinations, all Scott Summers' hopes and dreams, all that represents my humanity. In one stroke, I make it dust. Your ambition is a world to rule. In one stroke, I make it ashes. I abjure life, Father, and give myself over whole and unreservedly to the fire. An inferno that will consume you all. Next, read X Factor 37 and be here for next month for X-Men X Factor Burn. And I imagine because Kalash is going over to New Mutants, there's no one to even talk about magic, and so we end the issue. And that, thus far, has been my favorite issue of Inferno. The Avengers 3 or 299 was pretty nice, but lacking. Well, no, I mean magic's in there, but we got a couple of good ones coming up that I'm excited about. So next issue will be New Mutants 73. Next Monday, we would do Realm of X. So far, some quick preview or reviews. Now that I'm trying to get my brain, there's Days of Future Past Doomsday issue 3, which apparently I missed issue 2, but Kate Pryde's definitely in there. And issue 2 was pretty amazing when I read it, and because like Days of Future Past, Uncanny 141 and 142. 141 shows us like some history of how we got to Days of Future Past. And it's like 6 or 7 panels, and those panels are reused for this story to like make sure you see, because that's what the Doomsday miniseries is about, is like the actual story, I guess, or one person's interpretation of it. So that was nice, but then the whole Kate Pryde marrying Colossus, and I was like, I can't do that. Like that relationship is just so toxic to me. So 3 was nice, but I can't do it. I'm not mature enough. Realm of X we will cover in depth. Miss Marvel was pretty nice. I mean, there's art, and the coloring in that book is just like nice, pleasing on the eyes. The characters are good. Miss Kamala and her friend Bruno are fun, but there's no Kate Pryde, no Rasputin, and no snacks, so that was disappointing. And then I read Invincible Iron Man, where Tony marries Hazel, and we learn more about Feelong. And that made him the most interesting I've ever seen. So I'm excited about maybe continuing to check out Invincible Iron Man. So please come back next week as we cover Realm of X. And then I believe, since next week, this is the last week of September, I'm going to work in the first issue of my Loki coverage. And then Inferno with New Mutants 73. So ideally, we'll do 3 episodes. Oh gosh, I guess maybe October will have 3 episodes a week. So thank you everyone for following me on this journey. And you can follow me as well on a journey, but also online at what a segue. At YouTube, Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram at Jackal SIII. And if you'll rate the podcast and subscribe and tell a friend, we appreciate it as we try to grow the just grow. So thank you everyone. Thank you. And I'll talk to you next time. All right, bye.